Last year on New Year's Eve, I decided to do the low-key thing and hang out with a friend, watch all the Star Wars movies, and drink until my face felt fuzzy. It was fun. We got hypercritical of the new content, and it's nice to geek out with another fan from time to time. Anyway, his fiance comes home, watches The Last Jedi with us, and then says we should probably go to bed. It's like 2 a.m. at this point. 30 minutes and 2 drinks later, I'm finally walking home. I live a ways away, but I like to walk home late at night. I'm pretty drunk at this point, but not enough to black out in the middle of the street. So here I am, just drunk enough to do something stupid. My friend lives near an old park, kind of a landmark for the city. Of course, me never being a tourist in my own town, I don't know my way through it. Nothing like drinking half a bottle of bourbon and enough beers to build a small fort to get a good idea in your head. So there I am, walking through the park. It's got some open fields, but also some wooded areas. I'm stumbling along, very aware of my situation, but with no real idea of how stupid I am for walking through a park at 3 a.m. on New Year's. I'm laughing to myself, chucking branches at trees, having a grand old time. But slowly, a little bit of sense starts to sink into my little brain. That's when I start noticing all those creepy sounds like they do in those movies. So like a moron, I stop walking and say the 4 dumbest words of my life. Is anyone out there? About 2 seconds later, the worst thing you can possibly imagine happens. Yeah, I'm right here. This deep, clear, and unslurred voice comes from behind me. Now keep in mind, this is the middle of a park with no lights. It's cloudy and the moon is half full at best. I don't live in a bright city. I can barely see 5 feet in front of me. This guy was possibly 20 feet away, or so it sounded like, but it was pretty quiet. It sounded like he was in my right ear. I won't say I pissed myself, but I was so scared. Truth be told, my muscles froze so tight and I didn't know what would happen or what to do next. So what did I do? Well, I couldn't turn to see him because I couldn't see anything, and besides, I would be too suspicious. Would you really want to know what kind of person is hanging out in the middle of the park on the darkest night of the year? So I just kept walking. I got out of that park and was never so glad to see streetlights in my life. So that's my story. If you take anything away from it, let it be this. Don't get drunk and walk alone at night. My grandma passed away on December 18th. Since then, we have been spending a lot of time at her house as a family. You know, sorting through almost 70 years of her living in the same house. But mostly just being together as a family and remembering her and my grandpa. Well, on New Year's Eve, I left my granny's house at about 11 p.m. My wife and I had driven separate cars, so I was following her home. By the way, we were both sober and fully awake when this happened. We were stopped at this light. There's a Walgreens, a shopping center, and a large parking lot. On the parking lot side, there's a nice sidewalk that at night is quite shadowy and dark. This corner was across the light for me and would be on the passenger side as I passed. The night was still hazy from all the fireworks smoke, but I could see what looked like someone standing on the sidewalk. I drove closer to the shadowy figure and every hair on my body stood up. There, walking on the sidewalk, was what looked like one of the creatures from the movie The Village. It was some person or something fully cloaked in this black jacket or sheet or something like that. Now, I'm a grown man that doesn't believe in supernatural or anything like that, but I was freaked out. I slowed down trying to get a better look at the thing, but it just kept walking, just hunched and super creepy. I drove on and flashed my lights to alert my wife. There was someone jogging further down and headed towards that direction, so I pulled over and called him over so I can warn him. Hey man, there's some creepy guy or monster looking thing back there. I suggest you don't go that way or just go back home. Are you serious? A monster? Yeah, or a guy pulling some kind of sick joke. Just be careful, man. I would just go home. After a while of driving, I kept thinking about what I saw and hoping that guy was safe. When I finally got home, I pulled in right next to my wife, and when she got out, we both said at almost the same time, "Did you see that?" While I was in bed, the only thing I could think of was if it was some bozo who made a cool suit and was waiting to give some drunk on his way home from a New Year's Eve party a stroke. I bet it worked.